Yes.
And, all right. Folks, we're going to call to order the meeting for the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation for Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope everyone had a happy holidays and a good new year. To start, despite the tragedy what happened in our community. Although not on the agenda, I'd like to take a minute to remember those folks for a moment of silence. All right. Go ahead and take attendance. Present. Present.
Whitney Washington.
Present.
Ryan
Present. All right. Do I hear any motions to amend the agenda as published? Hearing none, I'd like to approve the agenda as published. All those in favor? I'm sorry, motion.
So moved.
Motion by Hammond.
Second one.
Second by Watkins. All those in favor? All right. Presentation of the agenda. Approval of the minutes, which was sent to everyone from the December 10th, 2024 regular board meeting. Motion to approve those. Motion by Banks.
Second.
Second by Heck. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Motion to approve the December 10th, 2024 minutes from the Rules and Standards Committee.
So moved.
Motion by Heck.
Second.
Second by Banks. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. The next item is the selection of the nominating committee. As y'all probably remember, the January meeting, we nominate I appoint the nominating committee, who then take nominations to the executive board, positions of president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. At this time, I have contacted each of y'all if you're willing to serve. I'd like to appoint Akeisha Turkweed, Ryan Banks, Wendy Washington, and Chris Hammond. Everyone's willing to serve, I'm assuming. All right. So anyone who's interested in serving in any of those positions, please contact one of the members of the nominating committee and submit your desire to serve. Next meeting, we will present those folks, and I think we vote on it at the March meeting, correct?
Yes.
I don't need a motion on that, do I, Brian?
No.
All right. We have a resolution before us for some writing off some bad debts. Brian, do you have that copy of that resolution?
Yes, you do.
Looking for it. Check it out. Okay. This is a resolution to write off the 2024 bad debts. Whereas the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation is a public benefit corporation of the City of New Orleans, which leases from the City of New Orleans its property rights at West End. Whereas the Municipal Yacht Harbor derives revenue and pays expenses as a consequence of its operations, and whereas the Municipal Yacht Harbor maintains accounts receivable for rental payments which are due to the Municipal Yacht Harbor, and whereas an account receivable is reserved by the Municipal Yacht Harbor when evidence indicates that the account may become uncollectible after significant collection efforts have been attempted, and whereas the Board of Directors of Municipal Yacht Harbor has established a bad debt write-off policy, now therefore the Board of Directors of Municipal Yacht Harbor hereby authorized to write off bad debts of 2024 fiscal year as noted on Exhibit A attached here to January 14th, 2025. All right, and then if you look at the exhibit, the debts that we're talking about specifically are an amount of $1,682.02 from Matt Grisham, slip E123. Mr. Grisham has been a slip tenant since 2009. The last payment the Municipal Yacht Harbor received was January 2024. The outstanding balance of the slip rent for the last 3 quarters A notice of default letter was mailed on April 30th, 2024. No response was received. Multiple attempts to reach him by email and phone were made, but unsuccessful. His vessel, which is of low value, will also need to be removed from the slip. The second one is Don Nathan Fair, C-113. The amount of write-off is $2,891.14. Mr. Fair became a slip tenant in November of 2021. The last payment initially received was January of 24. The outstanding balance is for the slip rent of the last 3 quarters. The notice of default letter was mailed on April 19, 2024. No response was received. Multiple attempts to reach him by mail and phone were made, but unsuccessful. He has abandoned his vessel, which is still in the slip and will need to be removed. Like to get a motion?
So moved, Watkins.
A motion by Watkins,
Second.
second by Heck. Any discussion?
I have a question, just, the removal of the boats, we also would just pay for that, or do we take possession of the boats, or how does that work?
Good question.
Yeah, we go through the system and essentially we take possession of them. If they're worth anything, we can auction it off for that's, often these boats are worth nothing or very little, so we just make a judgment call and decide if we're gonna go through the cost of auctioning versus just paying out of the school.
So Brian, to continue that discussion, we have to pay to have the boat removed and salvaged or destroyed, right?
Yes.
And so, we would get an appraisal to determine that that's what we might get for the vessels less than that?
If the vessel appeared to have any value whatsoever, then yes.
And if, let's say, we think it does have value, we would go through the city, we have to go through the city system to auction it,
No.
an auction to dispose of it?
No,
How's
there's
that?
2 different ways I'm looking into right now. We haven't had to do it yet. The Lakewood Management Authority goes through the courts, but the state has passed a law to allow it, so it's easier to take possession. So there's 3 wildlife and fisheries. So I'm examining both of those processes to see which one's going to work best for us and legal. And then we would do a private auction.
Okay. Historically, in your time here and mine, they didn't have the value, we just destroyed it, right? That's why it's not.
And that was-
That's why it's not something we're familiar with, right?
That's true. There's different laws regarding disposal if the vessels are damaging property, or some essentially which is damaging the property. There's different laws in which to take control of it.
I begs the question, I'm trying to get an answer so people understand why we're not just auction it off. Historically, we haven't been in a position
No, we
where we
haven't.
had to look at.
Luckily, we haven't had to deal with it.
Okay. Any other
A
discussion?
question, I know the amount is not really significant, but is there a certain amount that warrants further collecting, like, having a collection agency or something like that? I know in this case it may not be worth it, but is there a value that, we may say, okay, yeah, this is $20,000, we need to do. So how do they, and I know right now we're going to write it off, eventually, not into write off.
I mean, again, we would make a judgment call based after talking to the attorney to say what would it cost to try to recover this debt. And if that number is greater than the cost of the attorney, we would proceed.
Okay, and to collect the debt, we will be returning.
Yeah.
Because I know some collecting agencies, they get a fee of what they collect.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, not knowing the hassle of that, but if you don't pay outside, and the only thing that they get is what they collect, a percentage of what they collect. That's why if I get an attorney, I can imagine it's more than 1,600.
So if the vessels, in this case, if they do have value, if they do, we would cover all our expenses.
But if it's if you're paying to rid of the store, then that's on top of what this is owed. And so have that been discussed or look back in some way, like how much is it going to be to remove it? Then would it be enough to
To
pursue
pursue
collection?
it. Probably not, but something we usually do.
Does the lease, let's see if they have a fact, does the lease allow us to do that? To then go recoup the cost of the disposal?
Yeah.
I don't know what a collection agency charge, but let's say we want this, we have $3,000, and one of them is pretty close to 3,000, and then it costs you another 1,000 to dispose of the vessel. But you start getting a decent amount that might be worth pursuing for a collection agency, look at determining the minimum, something better than nothing.
Right, if the work is really, if you call the collection agency, they pick it up. And if they get whatever percentage they get, it's just that these people would not get off, not paying anything. And you pay, you don't have to write it off, even if you approve $1,000 for minimum work. You know, it's just
I
something
would-
to consider, that's all.
Just, I would think if this vessel is worth very much, they're in the business of collecting anything. With the vessel, they're gonna want to, you get rid of it, let me know how much you want me to go collect, please.
Right, right, but you still have to get rid of the vessel anyway. So I guess what I'm saying, is it, do we do this now, or do we get the cost of what the removal of the vessel is added to this, and then make a determination on, is this something we're writing off, or is this something that's worth the pursuit of collecting?
Do you report these debts to credit agencies? Do we have enough information to do that, like we get social security numbers, things like that?
We could.
And I don't think, once again, not an attorney, but I don't think us writing off prevents us from still collecting, trying to collect.
That's
It's just a bookkeeping thing for us, we can still go trying to collect that even if they're writing off. If we like it, then we go back on it. All right, any further discussion? I think, to Dr. Criddle's point, I think it's worth looking into those things.
Yeah.
We'll leave us.
Yeah.
All right. Any, comment cards?
No.
All right.
One's coming.
It's coming.
Is it what, okay, go ahead. Sonny?
Sonny Drouillet, 131 North Roadway. I happen to be in the collection business, so I can answer a few of the questions here. The fee is 35% basically, okay? I think Brian, somebody mentioned, can it go on a credit report? Y'all wouldn't have the availability to put it on a credit report. Collection agency would. The other thing is the fees to destroy the boat, are they including in your lease agreement that they can be recouped? If they're not,
They are.
That's what I'm saying.
they are, okay. So that takes y'all's $3,500 up significantly. That makes it possibly worthwhile doing. The big thing is turnover quickly. And y'all said this is 2024 debt, that's quick. If this was 23 debt, 22 debt, good luck collecting.
Thank you, Sonny, appreciate your input.
As far as a lawsuit goes, if you can't identify assets, why sue?
Thank you. Any other?
That's
All
it.
right. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Yeah, financial report, on the Vice Treasurer, Mr. Watkins.
As of December 31st, 2024, Initial Yacht Harbor Corporation has total assets of $17,591,600, with current assets of $3,717,800, and the bulk of which is in the form of cash, $3.561 million in two accounts at JP Morgan Chase Bank. Net fixed assets totals $1,204,300, Other assets include leases receivables of $12,242,000 and deferred actual pension resources of $423,000. On the liability side, the corporation has total liabilities of $13,072,900, of which $165,000 are current liabilities consisting mainly of accounts payable, accrued expenses of $26,000, under revenues of $3,000, and accrued annual sick leave of $136,000. Long-term liabilities consisted of net pension liability of $899,900 and $12,007,900 for a deferred inflow of long-term leases. That leaves the Yamaha Corporation with total equity of $4,518,700, of which $4,018,700 is in unrestricted net assets. For the month of December, the Yamaha Corporation had total revenues of $309,900, with total expenses of $146,100, which resulted in a net profit of $163,800. Year-to-date revenues are $2.354 million, with total expenses of $2.203 million, resulting in a year-to-date net profit of $150,700. Current slip occupancy is 95%.
Motion to accept the financial report. Motion by Banks, second by Dr. Criddle. Any discussion? Any comment cards?
None.
All right, all those in favor? All right, director's report. Brian.
Update on the fishing pier. The CEA was completed, fully routed, signed by the mayor. I'll let this for them to ask us for the money. So we paid this week, and then the contract with Tuna Construction is it's in progress. It should be signed in a minute. Work started, I believe, after talking to the project manager for the city. He believes that Tuna Construction is likely to move as quickly as possible to get it done before hurricane season, or at least before the active hurricane season. So we're happy about that. Boathouse lease for 127 is routing through the city still. It should be almost ready to go on the mayor's desk. We're waiting on one more approval. Marina Wi-Fi is partially operational. Cox had some damaged wiring that they installed, and they need to fix it and to adjust some antennas. But it is working. It's just not full coverage yet. West End development expenses for December, $3,447, which brings the total 2024 expenses to $89,791. That concludes the director's report.
Any comments? Board members? Comment cards? Next item is the Rules and Standards Committee. We did not meet this month. There's nothing to report. We do not have anything under unfinished business. Economic Development Committee did not meet. Do we have any comment cards? If you do, chime in, please. Carry on.
Go ahead.
Okay. Quality of Life and Safety Committee did not meet. Do we have anything? Board members, any comment cards?
Yes.
Okay.
Stanton.
Thank you so much for all being here tonight. What a pleasant experience that everybody's so engaged. Thank you. So, Friends of West End, we have three directors here today, Lee Henderson and Kerry Kuchin, and I'm Stanton Murray. And I just want to thank y'all for being so supportive of all the things we're doing. Brian's doing a great job communicating with us. We've just recently received a few grants, which I think y'all are familiar with some of them. We're about halfway through our documentary, which we're really excited about the Darlington Fountain. We received a second grant toward the fountain. We're planning on painting it with volunteers soon, with permission of Brian and direction as far as colors and things with your team. And then we're also looking forward to a cooperative agreement where we're working and at the finish line of a grant,
which we're going to be asking you next meeting, I believe, to support with your own input of dollars to get the fountain working on a basic level. So we'll be bringing that to you, but I just wanted to put it out there that with your support, hopefully this summer we'll have a fountain that's painted, clean, and running on a basic level. Certainly not $1 million Darlington fountain recap from 1915, but we'll have something running to make the park a much nicer place. So I want to thank y'all for your support. In addition to that, a couple hours ago I was at the meeting of the Marina Committee, your counterpart for the Orleans Levee Board Marina, as it's called, which is the Lakefront Management Authority. And the biggest point of discussion at the meeting was West End and how they can do their part to making it better. And substantially, when you leave here to your left on the way out between Sintez Boat Works and the levee, the blighted boathouses there. So we think that they're really going to move forward quickly in cleaning that area up. It wasn't on the radar for a lot of the board members, and now it is. So Friends of West End is also communicating really well with them. They have a new committee chairman for the Marina Committee who's engaged and involved and really wants to make sure that he's connected with Brian also. And for the first time in a long time, I think the state and the city will be working together to make West End a better place. So thank you all for being so involved and being here tonight. And we're looking forward to next year having this place look a lot sharper than it does this year. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate all that the organization's doing, Friends of West End is doing. I'd just like to add that we'd like to see before the painting is done, and also direct Brian, to seek some kind of expertise. And I can't sit here and say who to recommend, whether it's Helm, Pittsburgh, or Sherwin-Williams, or whatever, somebody, what type of paint we're going to use to paint.
So I'm
that
sorry,
paint.
I thought I was clear. So that's already been done, and we've got directive from the city through Brian.
Okay.
On everything,
Okay.
bullets.
I want to make sure we don't wait, we're getting free labor, we're going to make sure we use the right paint. So.
No, that's all been done,
Great.
and Brian's given us direction. We have the part numbers for the paint, and it's Sherwin-Williams, and it's antique marble, if I'm not mistaken, but there's a part number to go with that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not worried about the color, I'm worried about the quality, whatever.
Yeah, that's all been
Okay.
dealt with, thank you, but Brian's on top of it.
That's great, thank you.
So the grants, they're not for restoration, or is it for, do we have access to see what the grants are for?
So we have multiple grants, and the big one that we're working on now is going to be brought to you at the next meeting, ideally, to get a fountain actually running. And we're going to ask you to cooperate with us on that, what we participate in. Currently, we have grants that we're doing a documentary on the fountain, which we're about halfway through, and that's to bring attention, for one thing, to bring more funds into West End through other donation possibilities. And also we have 3 different grant pieces that are all a little different. But basically we're spending some of the money to clean it up and to paint it, and then to put it, to waterproof it and do other things. So we're running all that through your team via Brian, so everything's done with your permission. And it's the next piece will be brought to you at the next meeting with much more detail. So far we've been collecting money, we've been sitting on it and putting together proposals and sharing that with Brian, and we'll have a full proposal next meeting for you.
Stand for edification, to be clear. The grants are going to the Friends of West End, not
Yes.
us. And so far, the large money grants have come from ASB, supposedly.
Yes.
I mean, I'm seeing I'm getting other money, but.
We do have 4 different sources so far. ASB's the primary, and part of what we're doing is also setting up so we can accept more money from other people, including individuals to be able to become friends, businesses become friends. And we haven't been pushing that because we didn't have the software to process it. But part of what we're doing is using some of our grant money, not the ASB, but others actually, to put together the software in order to process that properly and to do it in a
Make it
way.
easy for people to get.
And it's always been easy for people to get. The hard part's for us to account for it. So to properly account for it and to keep our books properly, we need some software. So that's all coming together now.
What about the upkeep, once it's done? Is that included in the grant, or is that an expense that we would take on?
That's all going to be brought up at the next meeting, but no, it's not included in the initial grants. But it's something that, of course, is very important, and how we deal with that. So we are, the Friends of West End were created after Katrina, and then when the harbor kind of restoration went dormant for 10 years, it shut down. So we're now coming back with the harbor, and we don't have any funds, and now we're putting together one. So our goal is, we have a wish list, which we'll share with you, but it includes street sweeping of the park, changes, cleaning up some signage. Some of this has to do with the ordinance levy board side, as far as on the way into the park. Some of that's levy board property, some of it's your property. So it's just a wish list, and we're looking at that, but every time you do something, of course, you have to keep it out. So that is on the table, and it's not ignored, but it has not been finished yet as far as a resolution.
What is the anticipating release of the document?
I don't have that yet. Hopefully I can give you there are two professional documentary folks doing it, and when I ask them that, they say, we're artists, don't ask me those questions. So I told them next meeting I want to give you an update. They've been doing a huge amount of video with flow people in town, experts on the fountain, people whose grandfathers and fathers built the fountain and dealt with it, jazz musicians who played out here. They're doing lots of interviews on camera. David Jones, who is famous for his documentary on the Degas House, and he's got about 5 or 6 documentaries on New Orleans historical pieces that have won big awards. He and Dennis Waterton, who was a Channel 4 newscaster for years, who was the anchor, and those two are partners, producers, and they've been doing interviews for the last couple of months, and they have a huge amount of information now. Also on our committee and on our board is the senior historian with the Great New Orleans collection, and they've just been pouring out a huge amount of information they had in archives, and they're finding out all of this. And it's interesting how these emails, every time they unload something, they find out more history about West End and the fountain, and it just ties into more things, jazz and Louis Armstrong and Thomas Edison, who was involved in the lighting of the fountain. And it's just, it's to the point where we may end up having a part 1 and a part 2 because it's getting so interesting. So there's a lot of history out here that we don't know about.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions? Any comment cards? Thank you once again for the organization. That is the last item on our agenda. Do we have any other comment cards?
No.
All right. This time, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, I'm sorry, next meeting, thank you very much. Next meeting, next meeting is February 11th, this location. All right, now, motion to adjourn. Move. First Allen, second by Marcus. All those in favor? All right, thank you everyone, I appreciate all the participation. Jerry, you call it and make it up here?
Something happened to him along the way. I know it breaks your heart, but